Hi dear students, welcome to the video lecture of module 5 and topic sequencing. The contents of this topic are basic assumption of sequencing, Johnson's algorithm, sequencing n jobs on single machine using priority rules, sequencing using Johnson's rule n jobs on two machine, sequencing using Johnson's rule n jobs on three machines, sequencing using Johnson's rule n jobs on m machines, and sequencing of two jobs on m machines using graphical method. So let's see what is a sequencing problem. The sequencing problem involves the determination of an optimal order or sequence of performing a series of jobs by a number of facilities that are arranged in a specific order so as to optimize the total time or cost. Sequencing problems may be classified into two groups. In the first group, there are n different jobs to be performed where each job requires processing on some or all of m different types of machines. The order in which these machines are to be used for processing each job, for example, each job is to be processed first on machine A, then on B, and thereafter on C. That is, in the order ABC. The second group of problems deals with job shops having a number of machines and a list of tasks to be performed. Each time a task is completed by a machine, the next task to be started on it has got to be decided. That is, once the task 1 is completed, then only the next task will be decided. Thus, the list of tasks will change as fresh orders are received. In sequencing problem, there are two or more customers to be served or jobs to be done, and one or more facilities, that is machines, are available for this purpose. We want to know when each job is to begin and what its due date is. That is, we should be aware of when the job has to be started, and at the same time we should be aware of when it is to be delivered to the customer. We also want to know which facilities are required to do each job. That is, what are the tools required, what are the jigs and fixtures required, raw materials required. Everything has to be known earlier before we do the sequencing. In which order these facilities are required and how long each operation is to take. Sequencing problem have been most commonly encountered in production shops where different products are to be processed over various combination of machines. So here are some of the terminologies used in sequencing problem. That is, first one is number of machines. It refers to the number of service facilities through which a job must pass before it is completed. Next, processing order. It refers to the order in which machines are required for completing the job. Next is processing time. It is the time required by a job on each machine. That is, for individual machine, what is the time? That is nothing but processing time. Idle time. It is the time for which a machine remains idle during the total elapsed time. Total elapsed time. This is the time interval between starting the first job on the first machine to the completion of last job on the last machine, including the idle time of the machines, if any. That is, it is the total time taken to produce the job starting from the first machine to the last machine. Next is no passing rule. No passing rule means maintaining the order in which jobs are to be processed on two machines. For example, if n jobs are to be processed on two machines A and B in the order A, B, then each job must go first on machine A and then to machine B. That is, without the job processed in machine A, it cannot be processed in machine B. It is mandatory that the job has to be processed by machine A first, later only it is to be processed in machine B. There are some of assumptions which are considered in sequencing problem, that is, only one operation is carried out on a machine at a particular time. That is, if there are 5 machines, when first machine is working, other 5 machines will be idle. Each operation once started must be completed. That is, until the operation is completed, the machine has to operate. An operation must be completed before its succeeding operation can start. So, before completing the operation, the machine can't accept the next operation to be performed. Only one machine of each type is available. A job is processed as soon as possible, but only in the order specified. That is, as we discussed, in the order A, B. The transportation time, that is the time required to transport jobs from one machine to another, is negligible. That is, the transportation cost is not considered in doing the sequencing of the jobs. Jobs are completely known and are ready for processing when the period under consideration starts. The cost of in-process inventory for each job is same and negligibly small. That is, in-processor inventory will be same for all the particular jobs under consideration. Now, we will go to the first category of the sequencing, that is, sequencing of n jobs on one machine, or we can call it as a single machine, using priority rules. There are mainly 3 rules. One is the shortest processing time rule, which is denoted as SPT, and earliest due date rule, and next is slack time remaining rule, which is also called as STR rule. So, the shortest processing time rule, that is SPT rule, is sequencing of the jobs in a way that the job with the least processing time is picked up first, followed by the one with the next smallest processing time, and so on, is known as SPT sequencing. That is, dear friends, the job which is having a least processing time is assigned first, and next list is assigned or sequenced next, and it continues. Next is earliest due date rule, that is EDD rule. As the name itself indicates, so which job as the delivery date, I mean delivering to the customer due date is available, that job is sequenced first, and the corresponding next earlier due date is considered for sequencing the next job. So, according to this rule, jobs are sequenced in the order of non-decreasing due dates. This rule minimizes the maximum job lateness as well as maximum job tardiness. Tardiness is nothing but delay in delivering. For example, assume if you want to deliver a job first, and if you sequence the job late, then it indirectly indicates that job will be delivered late, as the production will be late as you are sequenced it to the later stage. Next is slack time remaining rule. Slack time for a job is defined as the due date of the job minus its processing time. That is, due date time minus processing time will give the slack time. Sequencing the job in such a way that the jobs with the least slack time are picked up first for processing, followed by the one with next smallest slack time, and so on, is called slack time remaining rule. Now, let us see an example on SPT rule, that is shortest processing time rule. Here the job definition is 6 jobs A, B, C, D, E and F have arrived at one time to be processed on a single machine, assuming that no new jobs arrive thereafter. So the table gives the job names, that is A, B, C, D, E, F, and processing time in minutes are given. So to process job A, the time required is 7 minutes. Similarly to B is 6 minutes, C is 8 minutes, D is 4 minutes, E is 3 minutes and F is 5 minutes. So we have to determine here optimal sequence as per SPT rule, completion times of the jobs, mean flow time, average in process inventory. So as per the SPT rule, the sequencing will be, so in the given processing time, here 3 is the shortest processing time or least processing time. So E is sequenced first, followed by the next shortest time, that is D, which is sequenced next, and 5, that is F is sequenced next, and B, which is 6, which is sequenced next, followed by A and C. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are nothing but the shortest processing time, and the sequence is done according to that rule. So this completion time of the jobs are nothing but, so for completion of job E, the time required is 0 plus 3. So the time taken is 3 minutes. So to complete job D, the time taken will be, that is 3 plus 4. That is to complete, after completing job E only, it will go and come, the machine will do job D. Hence the time taken will be summation of time taken for E and D. So it will be 3 plus 4, that is 7 minutes. And next is F, that is 3 plus 4 plus 5, which will be 12, and similarly it applies for B, A and C. So you need to add the corresponding processing times with the earlier job. Next is nothing but the mean flow time. To calculate the mean flow time, we add all the completion time of the jobs, that is 3 plus 7 plus 12 plus 18 plus 25 plus 33, all divided by number of jobs. So we'll get the mean flow time as 16.33 minutes. So number of jobs waiting as in process inventory is calculated, that is 6 during time is nothing but 0 minus 3, that is at starting there are 6 jobs and time taken is nothing but 3. So we are multiplying 6 into 3, plus for when D is performing, the number of jobs in process are 5, the time taken is nothing but 7 minus 3, which is nothing but 4. So we are multiplying it by 5. Similarly for 4, 12 minus 7, and for 3, 12 minus 8, and for 2, 18 minus 25, and for 1, 25 minus 33, that is nothing but 8, all divided by sum of all the processing time, all divided by sum of all the processing time. So when you calculate the values, you will get 3 jobs. So we'll get average in process inventory as 3 jobs approximately. So with this I conclude this section. So in tomorrow's class I'll discuss with some other problems on priority loss. Thank you.